Hello, welcome to the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is George AC. Joining us today on our set is the Member of Parliament for Okaikwei Central, Honorable Yaw Boamah. Honorable, welcome.
Thank you, Patrick. Yaw Boamah.
Right.
How are you, George?
I'm doing very well.
Thank God, and Happy New Year to you and your wonderful team from GhanaWeb.
Thank you.
Welcome to Parliament.
Thank you very much for hosting us this morning. We'll delve right into the conversation, and we'll first of all like to speak about what has brought us here today. Election 2024, your party did not get the results you so much desired. What do you think has accounted for the defeat, as you would call it?
Thank you very much. This is a very, very important question. But I'd wished you had come here earlier than the party had set up a committee to go into that matter. There are a myriad of issues that I believe the committee is looking into. And I don't want to preempt some of the issues that will be raised by the grassroots and also some top executives who are being interviewed by the Okaikwei Committee. I have my views on certain things, but as a senior member of Parliament and of the party, it would be very wrong for me to sit here. If you had asked me before the inception of the committee, I would have given you some ideas or some views of mine on what led to defeat in the last general election. So I beg of you, if I'm not I'm giving the opportunity to stay off a bit now, because it will lead to some public discourse that may lead me into trouble in the party.
That's very much understandable, but
I appreciate that.
yes, but to the result, is this something that you expected?
Not at all. I knew we're running a very difficult election, given where we were economically and a few other issues that had happened in the country. So I knew generally we're going to have some issues, but as to the size or the level of defeat, I didn't anticipate that, especially in the parliamentary election.
Talking about parliamentary election, you've had your own battle to contend with, starting from the...
That I can talk about.
Yeah, back and forth, and all that. Do you think the issue is far gone?
Let me give you a background. A lot of people don't understand what actually happened. Elections were held on 7 December 2024 at 140 polling stations in Okaikwei Central constituency. And this is the first time I'm granting a major interview on this. With the special voting, when you add that station to it, you have 141. At the end of the polls, polling station officers, constituency reps are sent to the Constituency Collation Center at the Ghana Communication Telecom University. Results from every polling station is entered on a screen in the presence of lawyers from the MPP, NDC, and our reps with the Electoral Commission officers. Political parties, serious as we are in this country, also do collate our results at the constituencies or our various collation centers to know the results even before the EC completes their collation at the constituency collation centers. So the EC and the party started the collation around 6 p.m. at the university. Police were there, security, police intelligence department were there, BNI, everybody, media, everybody. So they saw the process from polling station 1 to 138. Even the 2 centers that were going to be entered were ready to be entered by the officials. The NDC lawyer was there, a lady lawyer who has always been at the center. Our lawyer was there, our collation officers were there, NDC, MPP, were all there. Presidential was entered, Parliamentary was entered, everybody saw it. And at that time, media outlets who saw the transparency in the whole process had projected me as the winner and President Mahama as the winner for the presidential election.
With just
two polling stations, and I was leading with over 1,800 votes. Not 1, not 10, not 100, not 500, 1,000 plus, almost 2,000 votes. So it was at that point that the NDC lawyer, who was conferring with some of our reps there, said, she was going to sign off and advise her agents to sign off once the collation was done, because it was clear that I had won and President Mahama had also won. That was when she received a threat from some of the NDC boys around that they won't allow her to go ahead with that.
Their own party agents.
You can get the videos from City, from UTV, from other media outlets who were there. Fast forward, they scattered the whole collation center without a declaration. So the EC said, okay, let's go to the regional office and finalize or complete the collation process. There too, chaos. They would not agree because they said once President Mahama has won the presidential election, they also automatically must win the parliament. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, we went through the motions, wrote to the EC, went to court through a mandamus application, court granted, a collation was completed, declaration was made, entered into Gazette, publication has been made, we were sworn in on the 6th, and we are here today. So I've given you the history behind it.
In all this, your opponent, Baba Sadiq, at a point or actually gave into the idea that he had won, and I think at a point he was declared the winner. What do you believe informed his belief?
Fraudulent nature of a declaration. I've told you we had 141 centers, 140 polling stations, plus one from the special voting, which I won anyway. Then you said, on Saturday after the election, when the results were being entered, you didn't raise any issue. Sunday morning, you scattered the polling center. Monday, we went to the regional office. Then they went to alter some pink sheets to come and challenge the EC's results. That is a fraudulent act and very dishonest on their part. Yes. So that is what he used to mislead his party folk. Why didn't they challenge the results at the collation center in the presence of their lawyers and everybody? Went to a house somewhere in Tesano, had a meeting and decided to do the unthinkable, thinking they were not going to be uncovered.
You had actually served notice of pursuing the matter to the highest level in terms of legal avenues available to you. How willing were you to actually travel in seeing this matter through?
Thank you. You cannot change the will of the people. And I'm not the type who would support any violent procedure activity. No. The rule says that if you feel aggrieved by any violation of the process or any irregularity, there is a process to follow. And I followed it because I knew I had won. If you've won an election, you don't use violence means to declare yourself. You go through due process. And as a senior lawyer, I wasn't going to allow my party folk to undertake that venture. But that notwithstanding, we've gone through that. If they also feel that I didn't win, they should go through due process and we shall meet anywhere in a court of competent jurisdiction.
I'll leave the matter of elections for now and zoom in onto national issues before coming back to some personal issues. First of all, the Council of State election just ended some few days ago. In some regions, it had to be rerun. Ashanti region specifically ended just yesterday with some issues coming up here and there. As a senior member at the bar, do you think that the argument that probably the Council of State must have outlived its usefulness holds?
Thank you very much. I believe that we still need a council, whether we need to still call it a Council of State. It's a matter for a discussion. And I believe that the president has set up a constitutional review committee. They can also look at that. People have advocated for a second chamber. That would require the expansion of the present state of the council, which involves election into the council from the 16 regions and some nominations to be made by the president in accordance with the constitution. So you are talking about elections, Council of State election. We had issues in Ashanti region, which I believe is very unfortunate. The reoccurrence of violence in our election process is something that we must nip in the bud now. Because you see, if people are emboldened to go to polling stations or collation centers to cause disruptions, to delay the declaration of duly elected people or candidates to represent their constituencies. For example, as you sit here, we don't have a member of parliament for Ablikuma North due to violence, burning of ballot boxes, district offices, and what have you. And we still call ourselves a beacon of democracy in Africa. God, let's be honest and be humble before God. We are not. Secondly, if that care is not taken, next time it will not be at the collation center. It will happen that people will go hold election officials to declare for their candidates because they are the strongest at polling stations. And if you have close to 40,000 or 40,000 polling stations across country, and you have such issues occurring in more than 1,000, 2,000 polling stations, then you have a problem.
That said, the Council of State election, which is by the constitutional structure supposed to be apolitical, somehow, some way, is turning out to become another politicized event. Where does that put us?
My brother, we always play the ostrich in this country. Everything we do here has some political underpinnings, from the unit committee to the assembly election of MPs, the president, Council of State. They all have political underpinnings. We have to be honest as a people to ask ourselves, what do we want to do? Do we want to elect this substructure in our local governance structure on a political or partisan line? Let's look at it. If we want to elect Council of State members on partisan line, let's look at it. Let's not play the ostrich. Ghanaians are too smart. We've grown our democracy to a certain level to be able to reform and review some of our actions. And I believe that if we want to conduct some of these elections on a partisan basis, so be it.
The NDC, having assumed office, is embarking on what somebody will say, trying to open up the Pandora box. I'm talking about oral, I'm talking about the revocation of appointments en masse. What is your take on specifically the issue of the revocation of appointments as a legal luminary and the conversation of the legality of these actions coming up?
Very, very unfortunate. An advert is placed, people apply, they go through a process after months. Committees are set up in institutions to engage them. They go through job interviews as part of the process towards the issuance of the appointment letters. They are issued appointment letters. They start work. Some are transferred to other regions. They go rent places. They start their lives with families. Then elections are held. They are Ghanaians. And a new government comes and a letter is issued that we are revoking your appointment, having gone through due process, how would you feel? Aren't they Ghanaians? Because we were promised by President Mahama that he was going to be the president for all Ghanaians, and that people who have secured jobs or employment were not going to be victimized. I see this as very unfortunate. There are various means of assisting any person within any society across country to secure job opportunities. But when it happens this way, eyebrows will be raised, thinking that, oh, we are even politicizing the recruitment into agencies of state, into some para-statals like State and what have you. So I believe it's a very unfortunate situation. We are not sowing any good seed, and I pray the president reconsiders this decision and ensure that all those who have been employed in this institution are made to go back to work. You've realized that the Nurses and Midwifery Council, they are issuing statements here and there. People can go to court and challenge some of these things, and there'll be issues of judgment death against government and what have you. We need to avoid it. We've come a long way. We need to move forward as a people and ensure that there's peace in this country.
On that same score, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is on the tail of the former Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta. There's been arguments on the legality of the Special Prosecutor's action, even going as far as declaring the former minister wanted. What is your take on this matter?
Thank you. I think the minority has stated its position on the Ken Ofori-Atta matter. My view is that Ken Ofori-Atta is a citizen of Ghana. He's subject to the constitution of this country and any other law. So we set up the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The Office of the Attorney General is there. He's the principal legal advisor to government, and he has the right to initiate all civil and criminal actions for and behalf of the state. If a former government official or any officer of the erstwhile administration is deemed to have committed any crime, the law is there. Go to court. If you want to search the person's home, comply with the provisions of the Constitution. You read Article 18.2. Yeah, the person is entitled to his privacy. Okay? So what I expected the state security or the Attorney General or any other agency to have done, especially when the lawyers of the former finance minister had written to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, informing the office of his whereabouts and what he was out there doing. They could have gone ahead to engage his lawyers, and if they were having challenges, could have secured a warrant from the court. But for you to have gone to his residence, I believe was a violation of his privacy and his fundamental human rights.
But then on the OSP's actions, the declaration of Mr. Ofori-Atta wanted.
Well, I haven't looked at the letter in detail, and I would want to look at that before I can speak to that.
If I'm supposed to give you any information, the OSP says Mr. Ofori-Atta has questions to answer, and beyond, he's no more, or he's not even a person of interest, but a suspect.
Well, the OSP by law, I think Act 959 or so, has a right to investigate both private and public persons who are suspected to have engaged in any acts of corruption or any corruption-related offense. So he has the mandate. But as to how you carry out the mandate, could be challenged. You understand? So if he's a suspect, invite him. He has right to counsel and let him know the offenses with which he's being investigated, so that you also have the right to be heard on all those offenses. As we speak, he hasn't been charged. It's a matter of investigations going on. So he needs to be given the hearing by the OSP through due process so that he could speak to all those matters that the OSP is investigating, or he having been charged, or he hasn't been charged, suspected to have committed.
The OSP's case is that Mr. Oforiatta should respond to the call or the invitation as a matter of urgency. Mr. Oforiatta and his lawyers, on the other hand, believe that by his health condition, he needs some time and that he will actually come at a reasonable time.
Yes, at least there's been some communication between them. And I believe OSP is a lawyer, senior lawyer. The lawyers of Ken Oforiatta must sit down with the OSP to agree on a roadmap as to when Ken Oforiatta can avail himself to the OSP for investigations to go on.
Due to the benefit of time, we'll just scale down the interview and probably zoom in back onto the person of Mr. Boamah, Patrick Boamah. You have been cited to have a very calm demeanor. Politics is seen as something that comes with some level of attitude, and we see some having their own. Some are outspoken, some are loud. But Patrick Boamah, on the other hand, is a very calm person. What has influenced your personality?
Thank you very much. I believe that the larger Ghanaian community, humanity, influences my way of politics in this country. Look, we need to understand that people are discerning and they can easily read between the lines, even though they may let you go off the hook sometimes. I believe that respect for the Ghanaian and the politics we do in this country has shaped me, and my nature too, as a very calm person, stems from the fact that I respect the people I serve, and I always want them to know that my being here as a politician is because they believed and respected me to come and serve them. I don't want to be a politician or a leader who lord over my constituents. I always try to give back to the constituents and to the country. And being calm is not a sign of weakness, no, at all. But you need a very firm, calm, honest disposition, full of integrity, because that is what a lot of us lack. You need integrity in the business of politics to be trusted. Otherwise, you come and you'll be swayed by the trappings of power, and before you realize, you are corrupt. So I believe that it stems from, one, humanity, service, two, my respect for the good people of this country and my constituents at large, and the fact that I've always offered myself to serve with integrity, and that is what carries me. The rest, I will leave it with the good Lord to handle me.
Beyond your constituents, the constituency of social media, a subset of it, the ladies, have, have also voiced out their admiration for your personality. What is it about Patrick Boamah and the ladies?
Well, I don't even know. I just saw it, that somebody posted something to me that, oh, somebody says the ladies like the way you ask your questions and how you do your politics. I thank them very much, and I appreciate their concern and support for me. And I always advocate for them and ensure that women rights are protected and supported through the Affirmative Action Act and so on and so forth. But that notwithstanding, even Christianity, politics, Muslim or Islam, to be very successful, you need the women to support you. And it goes to the home. So the women are a very, very, very important factor in every aspect of our life. Who gave birth to us? It's the woman. So if you want to succeed and they think you are a very, very good or humble, important person full of integrity, you thank them. Because when the woman or women turn against you, then you are in trouble.
Okay. My last but one question before I wrap up. The government of John Dramani Mahama is just a month and a few days old. What is, first of all, your assessment on the performance of the government so far and your projection of what is in stock for the people of Ghana in the next 3 years and some months?
Thank you. I think I'll give President Mahama 1 year to be able to understand where he wants to send this country. First of all, he hasn't even announced his cabinet. We haven't even completed the vetting of his deputy ministers. Some appointments to very important state institutions are being made. I'll be very, very wrong to assess him now, because I believe that the job of a president is very huge, and I want to give him that space and not to bombard him with unnecessaries, but to give him some time. But that is not to say I will not be raising issues as they crop up, but to give a fair assessment, I'll give him a year. Because one, we are still under an IMF program. The previous government put in place a lot of measures to pay the coupons under the domestic debt exchange program. It's there. State security is okay, but for election-related issues, violence here and there.
There are still some issues up north as well.
President Mahama went to Boko, and I believe one of the reasons why we vetted Honorable Muntaka, the Minister of Interior, was for some of these issues to be brought before him so he could take the right actions. You understand? Boko is a very important area in our country. Very busy, vibrant business area. So unfortunately, we are seeing the happenings there. And I pray that, having read what Otunfo said, that we need a lasting peace in Boko and the country as a whole. I know him. I know what he can do. And I pray that he takes the Boko issue as part of the Dagbon issues that he was able to assist President Kufuor to resolve, that he should take it a step higher to help the Nairi and Yaw Boamah and himself to also look into the Boko matter.
Your party, on the other hand, is currently on a restructuring and reorganization. What is your anticipation of your party's future for the next 4 years and probably beyond?
Let me use this medium to apologize to everyone who felt slighted by our actions and inactions. I know people are hurt. I know a lot of people were disgruntled. I know people have issues with us. But I believe that MPP is a very big party. We've gone through a very turbulent election in 2024. We've started a process of looking into what happened. There must be some admissions on our part that we erred and strayed in a direction that did not resonate with Ghanaians. That caused us this heavy defeat. My prayer is that this committee comes out with a thorough report reflective of what is happening on the ground or what happened on the ground, not skewed in any way, so that we take on the recommendations that they come with and rebuild, rebrand, and ensure that we go into election 2028 very united, focused, and energized to win the next general elections. Thank you.
My final question to you, Honorable. The next 4 years you are here on behalf of the people of Okaikwei Central. What is your assurance to them? What should they expect from you?
Thank you. I promise to serve them well, do what I have to do as an opposition MP. I'm not in government again. As a government MP, the expectations should not be the same, but I will continue to fight and do whatever it takes to help the constituency in my next 4 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us, Honorable. So that brings us to an end on this episode of The Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My guest was the Member of Parliament for Okaikwei Central, the Honorable Patrick Yaw Boamah. My name is George A.C., and until we meet again for our next episode, please stick and stay with Ghana's most visited news website, www.ghanaweb.com, and on YouTube, GhanaWeb TV. Bye-bye.